How do you go back to sleep if for some reason you wake up between 2 to 3 a.m. in the middle of the night? I would consider myself an expert at insomnia because I had this for over a decade and it was destroying my life. It was not just getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning. Sometimes I wouldn't even sleep for 1 minute the entire night. I would lay there. It was basically torture. What's unique about 2 a.m. is something called the circadian rhythm with cortisol. This is a stress hormone. Cortisol should be at the lowest point in this rhythm at 2 a.m. and the highest point at 8 a.m. For me, everything was backwards. I was very, very awake at 2, but I was extremely tired at 8 a.m. in the morning. I tried everything. I even tried prescription medications. It didn't work. In fact, what I didn't know at the time was those medications actually worsen your cortisol. They raise your cortisol. We can also look at things that help you lower cortisol. And one big one is magnesium. Magnesium has the ability to actually lower cortisol, and your cortisol can actually go up if you're deficient in magnesium. Also, if you're sitting there watching right now and you have any tightness in your muscle in your upper back, lower back, or if you point your toe, okay, and it cramps, that's a sure sign that you are deficient in magnesium. The type of magnesium that I would recommend to take is something called magnesium glycinate. It can actually help relax your muscles and help reduce cortisol. When you want to take it is at night before you go to bed. Towards the later part of the morning, right around 6 o'clock a.m. is when you have the least amount of magnesium in your tissues. This is also probably why a lot of health problems occur in the early morning, like heart attacks, stroke, restless leg syndrome, because a lot of these things are influenced by magnesium. One last indication of magnesium deficiency is twitching. So if you're getting this twitch underneath your eye or in your arm, that's a sure sign that you are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium controls calcium, and when you don't have enough magnesium, you get more calcium, and calcium just causes cramping in different areas of the body. The other thing that can raise cortisol at 2 a.m. is a low blood sugar situation. Let's say your diet is heavy in the carbohydrates, and so you raise your blood sugar, go to sleep at night, and the blood sugar goes down. Guess what happens when your blood sugar goes too low? The body's going to raise it. How does it raise it? With cortisol, because of your diet. We've talked about magnesium deficiency, and by the way, when you eat a lot of carbohydrates and starches, that creates a magnesium deficiency. But if you're just eating sugar in general, you're going to have a blood sugar issue that's going to affect cortisol and wake you up in the middle of the night. This is what you should do. If you're getting up at 2 a.m., you want to evaluate what you ate the day before. Did you have refined starches? Do you go out to a restaurant? Did they give you something called MSG, which also can affect your blood sugar? Also alcohol. Alcohol will really make you feel like you're sleeping, but you're not really sleeping that well. You're probably going to wake up at 2 or even 3. The snack at night, you're going to raise your blood sugar and it's going to kind of come down right around 2, and that can keep you up. So it's so important not to snack after 6:30. Let's say, for example, you ate very, very late at night and you ate a lot of protein. Protein tends to stimulate the body, and that can interrupt your sleep. In fact, one thing that I find that really works for my sleep is if I have my last meal later in the afternoon and then I don't eat after that. Boy, do I sleep a lot better if I don't eat too late at night. Another thing with salt cravings, let's say, for example, you crave salty chips at night. The reason why people crave salt is because they're usually deficient in sodium. Sodium helps lower cortisol. When you're deficient in sodium or you're not having enough salt, your cortisol will go up. Add more sea salt to the meal through the day. Do that to the point where you crave no salt at night. Another thing that will increase cortisol is watching a suspense or action movie before you go to sleep. This is why I watch boring movies or something that's really light, because if I watch an exciting movie, I'm not going to sleep at night. It's also important not to have the blue light from this thing or your computer before going to sleep, because the blue light interferes with melatonin that helps you wind down and go to sleep. Another thing that can increase melatonin at night is getting enough sun exposure. Getting more sun during the day does definitely help you sleep at night. Over 50% of the sun, as well as the light from a fire or even candles, can give you infrared. That infrared will increase melatonin in the cells. If you're deficient in B1, you're going to have a lot of energy in your body because you have more of an energy capacity problem that you have to do something to get that energy out of your body. So if you don't exercise, you're going to have a harder time going to sleep. So I highly recommend you go for long walks, do some workout that will get you tired, but I have to work out to get the energy out of my body. Another thing that can affect your sleep at 2 or 3 a.m. is something going on with your liver. The liver is the organ that detoxifies between 1 and 3 in the middle of the night. If there's anything that's related to that, let's say alcohol, you're trying to get rid of alcohol, or you're taking medications that your liver's trying to get rid of something, that can throw off your sleep. Take milk thistle before you go to bed. That's really good for the liver. Another thing that happened with me is restless leg syndrome. That is a classic B1 deficiency, or it's a magnesium deficiency, probably because you're consuming too many carbs. I was. If you can just fix that, you won't have restless legs anymore. It's a real easy thing to fix. Just start consuming natural B1 and magnesium before bed. Check your pulse rate, because if your pulse rate is too high, that could be a potassium deficiency. I remember one time I was trying to sleep and I noticed I felt this pounding, and I checked my pulse rate. I'm like, oh my gosh, my pulse rate is like boom, 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 boom. There's two things that cause a high pulse rate. It's low potassium, usually because you're eating too many carbs, or your pH is too acidic. In the past, I would take kombucha tea, or I would do apple cider vinegar right before bed, and I would take it too concentrated, and that acidified myself. That was a problem that I ran into. For some people, drinking apple cider vinegar more diluted can help them, but also the apple cider vinegar really helps stabilize the blood sugars through the whole night. If you suspect blood sugar problems, apple cider vinegar is great before you go to bed, and it'll also help you increase the absorption of certain minerals. And if that doesn't work and you're laying there for a longer period of time, I would pull out a book, nothing too exciting, but just start reading a book until you get tired and fall asleep. And the next day, what I would do is I would go for a really long walk, not to raise the pulse rate, but just to kind of have a lot of oxygen, so you can kind of just drain out this cortisol and adrenaline that has built up. Go ahead and try these things, and then comment down below how they've helped you. How do you go back to sleep if for some reason